All right, I'm going into my daily practice routine. I have updated the setup here, which I'm quite proud of. I feel like it's better. So now I have this added thing. So just to note here, I'm not left-handed. I flipped everything around so that we can line up what I'm doing to what you're doing if you're looking at the screen, and we can line up what I'm doing underneath the fretboard where I have the low or heavy E string, the one closest to the ceiling on top. I think that's the easiest way to see it. And I also put in this one that kind of lines up a little bit more close so I can zoom in a little bit. My camera is still not the best camera, so I mean, I should get a better camera. but this one works good enough right now. So that's what I've got now, and then we've got our colorful screen once again up top. Remembering that the colors, there's no weird hidden, this isn't political, no weird hidden messages here. We've mapped the color wheel onto, it's all practical. It's all practical. We're reclaiming color for practical usages. Even accountants can use color in a spreadsheet, and music people. Music people can use color now in the spreadsheet, even if they're listening to Beethoven or something and they didn't have color. That's why they didn't have color. So we're gonna, so these are evenly spaced colors across the 12 notes. So they're basically as far as apart as they can kind of be to not get them mixed up. We're only seeing the collection of notes around the C major. And I'm trying to get used to basically how I think it's best to kind of explain the notes to myself and others. And again, my theory here is talking helps me, so hopefully it's useful to some other people too. But yeah, I have pretty much selfish intentions with my practice sessions here to talk to someone else or the microphone, because that helps me basically kind of organize my thoughts. And what I want to do is I'm thinking to organize, let me see if I can fix this. Hold on a second. I've got a problem. There's a problem here. Oh, now there's my slipper is jamming up the cord work. Oh man. Where's my setup person? Testing. Okay. Anyways. So I'm thinking that that basically I can list this stuff out and basically name it as I work on it. So normally in the mornings I kind of work on my practice session just for like my fingering. I still want to do that, but now I want to work on kind of using the different naming conventions and possibly naming things as I do this with the color convention and with the with the modal convention. So the ways the colors are organized here. I also have this new thing here on my OBS is another thing I'm kind of playing with, because it's actually a lot more things you can do on it even than Camtasia. It's crazy. So I'm kind of messing with that. So if I move this to the top, I can see my Excel worksheet, which again is overly colorful. It's like scary. I'm not scared. I'm trying to cross the street now. I need to cross the street. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So we have what we have here is the color format in tied to the notes, which are absolute colors, and we're in the 7-note collection around the key of C, and we can also have the color thing tied out to the related positions, like the Nashville number system 1 through 7, which is really an absolute nodal system based on the nodes. So that's how I want to basically be visualizing the color. When I look at the intervals, I'm going to be utilizing, you can see it down here, this little thing, but over here, that's why I have this bit. So if I'm looking from this perspective of the C, these are all the intervals, the colors of all the intervals, the distances. Now again, the interval names, I'm trying to get better at not letting the interval names force me to rename the notes. That's the problem with our current system. The naming convention forces us out of the best way to see the notes. So that's why I have this super long interval. The first part of the interval is what I would like to call it, and the second part of the interval is the current name of the interval. So if I'm on the C and I just don't go anywhere, I would call that as 0 note away from the Ionian node, zeroist modal half step, which is traditionally called a perfect first, right? And then from the perspective of the C, if I go up to this D, I would like to call that a 2 note away from the Ionian node, first modal half step, which is traditionally called a major second scale degree. The scale degrees are kind of off by 1 from my perspective. If I go up to this blue one right here from the perspective of the C, I'd like to call that a 4 note away from the Ionian node second modal half step, which is a major third scale degree. So this one, I'd like to call that, going from here to here, a 5 note away from the Ionian node third modal half step, which is a perfect fourth scale degree. And then of course, if I move to like the Mixolydian, or let's move to the Dorian just to make it easy. If I go to the Dorian, then that's the next one down. So now I'm just going to look at all the. I'm not going to change the colors. So right, the color stays the same. It's a Dorian, and the D is still the D. Or even if I went to a Lydian, the D is a little confusing. So if I went to like the Lydian, which is, or the Phrygian, let's say here, then we have the same color set. I'm still going to call it the 3 from a Nashville number system, but now we have a difference in the distances. All the distances of the 7 notes are from the perspective of here, which helps me with my chords, which I kind of want to work on today. So if I'm on that note, that color then now is a 0 note away from the Phrygian 0th modal half step, which we can call a perfect first scale degree. If I go to the blue one, I'd like to call that a 1 note away from the Phrygian first modal half step, which is traditionally called a minor second scale degree. If we go from here to here, the pink, then that's not the proper name. We've been calling it magenta, I believe. Get it right. It's a 3 note away. I'd like to call it a 3 note away from the Phrygian second modal half step, which we typically call a minor third scale degree. Now, by the way, more and more, because I'm naming the node from my modal distance, which is the equivalent of intervals, you could just take out, if I don't know the endpoint, I could just call it 3 notes away, obviously, or a 3 note away second, right? So then I can make it a generic, just to say it's a second of a scale and not list which scale. It's the second modal half step. So a 3 note away second, right, would give me a similar thing. Okay, so I'm going to move this back down, and let's see what I want to do today. I'm going to say, so I'm going to keep on messing with my fingering, but try to name it. So this is where I kind of start in the middle of my fingering, and then again I'm going to mess with this idea of reaching this way and just walking back, boom, 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 with my pointer, and then putting my pinky here and reaching this way back up. And then I want to take that same idea and move it to like maybe the Locrian and do the same thing from here, which is going to be a little bit more difficult because I don't have the open A, which I'm kind of thinking as my tonic. I'm typically thinking of myself as in the key of A minor. So when I move up to here, I'm thinking of myself kind of like in the key of A minor, but now I'm moving to the part of the song or the part of the progression of the Locrian node. So that would be like almost like that's my chord, or that's the root of the chord as I'm thinking of myself in A minor, right? I'm moving to I'm not changing the key to a Locrian, but I kind of am to some degree, because that's my kind of the chord within the progression. That's how I'm thinking of it. All right, so this is the one I know pretty well. So if I was to start on an A and move up here, I'm going to try to name this by nodes instead of letters. So this would be the Aeolian to the Mixolydian, or the 6 to the 5. So what's the distance? It's going to be, well, it's a 6 nodes, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be a 6 modal half step away, which is the 7th scale degree. So I'm going to say, okay, and so I'm going to go ba-boom. Wait a sec, that's the wrong place. Here. So that's going from here, out of key right there, in the key, walking down chromatically. And then I can combine that going this way. So I'm still thinking of my tonic being the A, and now I'm going to reach out this way, which is also, now I'm reaching to the Locrian from the perspective of the Aeolian. That's going to be one modal half step away. So it's a 2-note away, first modal half step, which would be a major second scale degree. And then I'm going to go to the C from the perspective of the Aeolian. That's 6, 7, and then 1. So that's 2 modal half steps away, which would be a minor third scale degree. And then we're going to go into what I call the Ionian Ocean, because I'm thinking of these as the continents, and that's the ocean. And then I'm going to go to the Dorian node, from the Aeolian to the Dorian, and so that's 6, 7, 1, 2. So that's a 3 modal half steps away. So it's a 3 modal half step away, 4-note away from the Aeolian third modal half step, which would be the perfect 4th scale degree. So if I went this way, so we'd go. What? Putting those together, I can also kind of go on this string. I kind of like doing this where I walk up here, but I'm gonna also be hitting the one above it. So I kind of can do a. Okay, let's try to take that idea and then move it up to the Locrian. So if I'm on the Locrian, so that these are down here. These are the maybe I can make these larger down here before I put them all. These are the intervals, but I've also added kind of my interval names. So these are the ones from the perspective of the C. So let's try to move to these to the Locrian. So I know this is I'm doing a lot with OBS, not as much practice here, but so now I'm going to try to stretch this out and see if I can get, okay, wait, Locrian, I can't even get down, that's too far. Oh! Alright, you know what I'll do? I'll keep it here. And let's try to do it from the Ionian, because I can see, and so these are going to be the intervals that I'm kind of working with by color from the Ionian. So if I was here, I can reach up this way, and I can get maybe to that Locrian out there. That's way too far. Come on, kidding yourself. Oh, maybe I could. So wait a sec, where am I? So yeah, I could do that. Now I don't have to alter the open A, but I kind of like doing that whenever I can work in the open one. But So now if I go backwards, I'm just noting, I'm still working chromatically, just working on my fingering. But if I reach out here, I'm outside, so I'm kind of noting the ones that are in the key, even though I'm walking chromatically. And then once I'm here, I'm noticing that I can kind of do a 3 notes, like with this one, to hit that one and whatnot. And then I can work in, I can move up here from time to time and work in, see what else I can do with my fingers as I'm kind of working through it. And then maybe I'll slide also and see if I can work this in so that I can still kind of make the Aeolian my tonic, and then kind of work this in so it sounds reasonable. All right. So. Okay, let me try a joke. Quick joke. Practice here. Have you ever heard when you know there's like a problem happening in a committee meeting? You know, there's a clear problem, and they're like, "Don't worry, we're gonna mull this problem over. We're gonna mull this problem over until it's nothing but one big hairy mole. It's not even a problem anymore. Why? Because we mulled it over, and now it's like, are you sure? Are you sure you didn't just cover the problem up with a big hairy mole?" And they're like, "No, dang it, the problem's totally gone. It's just a mole remaining. It's just a giant, hairy, harmless, non-cancerous mole now, so don't worry about it. Just don't think about the elephant-sized mole in the room. Ignore the giant elephant-sized mole in the room, people. We mulled over the problem. We mulled over because they put a giant mole on the, you see? I'm not sure if you caught how that worked. Let me try it again. It's all in the delivery. That wasn't funny. It's because whoever delivered it did it wrong. You have to do it better. Okay, so you're in the committee room, and they're like, there's a clear problem. It's like Joe Biden's committee room or something. And everybody's trying to ignore all the problems, right? That's your job. You go in there and you ignore all the obvious problems. So you're like, "Oh, dude, someone brought up the problem," and you're like, "Don't worry, we're gonna mull this problem over until it's nothing but one big hairy mole. It's not even a problem anymore. Why? Because we mulled it over." And it's like, "Are you sure you didn't just cover the problem up with like a big hairy mole?" And they're like, "No, dang it, the problem is totally gone now. It's just a mole remaining. Just a mole. We took care of the problem, and all that's left is a mole. It's just a giant, hairy, harmless, non-cancerous mole now. So don't even worry about it. Just don't think about the elephant-sized, hairy mole in the room. Ignore the giant, elephante-sized mole in the room, people. We've mulled over the problem. Let's move on. Let's move on." Okay. That's my joke for the day. Let's get back to it. I'm gonna try to do it down here. Similar pattern. I'm better on the middle string here, and then the D. So what if we do it around here with the kink in the tuning? Because there's a fault line. This is how I think about it. We have the continents here analogy and the world, and then there's a tectonic plate shift that happened here in California. We got hit with the tectonic plate, and it shifted us to the right, and as it did, we all went crazy. We all went totally crazy, but that's okay. We're gonna be all right. We're just a little wacky. So now we're gonna say, let's do it from down here and try to reach up here, and now we have a little bit different of a distance, noting that that gets me to actually the same note, and so I'm going to work back because it's a different distance. So that would be a perfect first or a 0 note away from my from the Phrygian node. 0 is modal half step, which would be a perfect first, and then we move it back here, and then we go to the Dorian. So if I go from the Phrygian to the Dorian, that's going to be the 3 to the 2. So I have to go up around the circle when I normally think of my distances. So 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2 is a 6 modal half steps away, which would be a 7th scale degree, and it's from the Phrygian, which is a minor mode. So it has a 10 note away, 6 modal half step, which is a minor 7th scale degree, and then I go to here, which is from the Phrygian's perspective, going from mode 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, or 5 modal half steps away, or the 6th scale degree. Okay, so let's just play, just noodle it. I don't even care about that stuff, man. I can just see the shape. And that's all I need. All I need are some toasty waves and a cool shape. Some tasty. Man, the right side. The sound is cool down here. I'm gonna have to. That's outside the key right there. This is in the key. This is. From there. So I know, so this is getting ugly now. I understand that it's kind of boring. So this is the practice session. It's kind of going to be not good. That's the point. But repetitions. You got to do the repetitions. That's how they get yoked up at the gym. Because you got to do, and then it looks until it works. I don't even drink. Eggs aren't even as big a thing anymore. I don't think my yolked up doesn't. You protein powdered. They get protein powdered up, man. Pea powdered up. That dude's yolked up. He's pea powdered. He's totally pea powdered up. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go from here to here. This is gonna be an A, so I can go from here. Going backwards. You don't even need yolks, and no one drinks eggs like Rocky anymore. They might still eat eggs, but you don't just drink them like Rocky. Just just do a vanilla flavored protein or chocolate or whatever. You're not risking the salmonella. That's what's happening. People, they're not taking on the risk. It's not the same. So you don't get the same results. That's what I'm talking about. Reach that. It's easier to reach that. It's because my hand is. But I like to wrap my finger. Let's try another joke. Let's see. That one's not that good. Okay, here we go. When the good old bonfire is crackling in the background and you pull out your guitar, it's totally crazy, man. Why? Because you're playing with fire. Literally. You're playing with fire, with freaking fire, man. But like in a nice way, you know? You're not like burning anything down or nothing. You're just playing music with the fire crackling, you know? It's kind of corny, but I know it's kind of corny, but bear with me. Don't worry though. It's a nice bear, you know? The bear with me, it's a nice bear. So between the pleasant bear with me and the delightful playing with fire, we'll have a great time because it's a nice bear and we're playing guitar with fire. We're not like burning things. We're not burning things. Let me try it again. All right. When the good old bonfire is crackling in the background and you pull out the guitar, it's totally crazy, man. Why? Because you're playing with fire. Literally. You're playing with freaking fire, man. But like in a nice way, you know? You're not like burning anything down or anything. You're just like playing with fire, like the guitar. You know, I know it's corny, but bear with me. I know it's corny, but bear with me. But don't worry. It's a nice bear, you know? The bear with me, it's a nice bear. So it's not going to hurt anyone. So between the pleasant bear with me and the delightful playing with fire, we'll have a great time because it's a nice bear. And we're playing music with fire. We're not like using the fire to do bad stuff. Okay, that's my joke. All right, let's try to work in the cajon. Try to do the percussion thing here. I'm going to try to go percussion, string, mutes. it's been a full practice session here. Let's see. Do I have one more joke? I don't think I could do better than that last one. One more joke. We'll do. People keep saying they want to take charge. They want to take charge, man. But I tell you what, I'm sick of having to take charge. Just once, I'd like the man to have to put down that taser. Then we'll see who's taking the charge, dang it. Just once, I'd like to be given charge, for crying out loud. One more time. People keep saying they want to take charge. I'll tell you, it's not easy. I'm sick of having to take charge. Just wait until the man has to put down that taser. Then we'll see who's taking charge. Just once, I'd like to be the one given the charge. I don't know, because like the charge is like electric. So there's an electric charge instead of like authority charge. Anyway, you'd rather be given the electric charge instead of the. Okay, that wasn't good. That's not. I should have stopped at my last one. My last one was great. Whatever. Let's stop it there.